can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Political Discourse. Let's get right to it. Artificial intelligence, it is in the news, and as far as anyone can tell or see, it will remain here. And it will also become a part of our everyday lives, whether we like it or not. Some say that artificial intelligence will assist in humanity's growth and development, while others contend that artificial intelligence will harm us somewhere down the line. Now, that being said, before I get to this, I have some clips I want you guys to see, and they're very pertinent to the issue of the inception or the incorporation of artificial intelligence, not just in the military, but in the world as we know it. Before we get started again, let me ask that you please like, share, follow, and subscribe, as well as comment on this piece I'm about to drop to this channel. Your viewership and participation in what we do, it really helps us to go and gather more informative and educational content for the masses. That being said, let's get to this. Again, artificial intelligence is and will be the new thing. We already see it in society. Mostly, some of us, we mostly use it on our cell phones or laptops. We use it for content, things of that nature. A lot of us do not understand that artificial intelligence will play a greater role to such an extent where it will begin to affect our quality of life. Now, that being said, I want to share something with you before I run these clips. But this is in the news, and it's been in the news quite frequently of late. There has been a contract between OpenAI, partly owned by Bill Gates' Microsoft company, and the Pentagon. It was signed on Friday, February 27, 2026. This deal calls for the Department of Defense to use OpenAI tools in classified military systems. The announcement came on the heels of President Trump and Department of Defense head Pete Hegseth's attack on social media against DARIO AMODEI's Anthropic. Okay, and this was a company that supposedly had a contract with the Department of Justice. All right, and that contract was worth over $200 million. But Anthropic's CEO, AMODEI, he had decided against going forth with this contract. He saw some issues that disturbed him quite a bit, enough to have him rescind the contract and say, no, I don't want any parts of this. But the thing about the contract being not just $200 million contract, there were things that the Department of Defense wanted encoded in the system for their use. And it had to do with the system not being able to be woke. They didn't want the system to be affected by wokeness. And this is something that really disturbed the CEO of Anthropic, AMODEI. He said, well, you know what, that right there is a red flag. And as a result, he canceled the contract. Okay, it was something AMODEI was against because of the implications of what could be coded into the AI system that could be intentionally harmful to humans in the theater of war or otherwise, was enough to have him say, nah, no deal. This pissed off Trump and Hegseth to such an extent that they both went to social media to vent their frustration with AMODEI in such a way that it kind of looked like, these guys were angry, or so angry to the point where almost sounded like they wanted to have something done to the guy. That being said, let me share these clips with you guys, because I think the clips, in terms of what Trump and Hegseth said, is very telling. They are quite upset, to say the least. Here's this clip.
Hegseth posted to X Friday, cloaked in the sanctimonious rhetoric of effective altruism, they have attempted to strong-arm the United States military into submission, a cowardly act of corporate virtue signaling that places Silicon Valley ideology above American lives. He continued, the terms of service of Anthropic's defective altruism will never outweigh the safety, the readiness, or the lives of American troops on the battlefield. Their true objective is unmistakable: to seize veto power over the operational decisions of the United States military.
And that veto power, again, is what I mentioned in terms of DARIO AMODEI. He wanted the system, the tools that he had encoded into his system to stay. The DOD, Department of Defense, HEXF, and those guys wanted it removed so that the AI can function, or so that they could recode or encode certain abilities for the AI to function under. And he saw, the CEO of Anthropic saw that as a threat to humanity. That was the core issue there. There's a lot to this, you guys, and a lot of it, we're just learning about, or, a lot of it we won't really come to understand for years to come. But let's finish with this clip.
That is unacceptable. Trump joined in on Truth Social, writing, I am directing every federal agency in the United States government to immediately cease all use of Anthropic technology. We don't need it, we don't want it, and we will not do business with them again. There will be a 6-month phase-out period for agencies like the Department of War who are using Anthropic's products at various levels. Anthropic better get their act together and be helpful during this phase-out period, or I will use the full power of the presidency to make them comply, with major civil and criminal consequences to follow.
The outrage from the—
Now, this is something that Trump is used to. I think everyone is becoming used to his antics, his bullying tactics. If something does not go his way, that's a problem. And it's not necessarily a problem for the American, citizen, or, the country. It's just a problem with him because, again, he's not getting his way. And, this guy, AMODEI, he, there's no telling how they're going to go about trying to address this issue. I'm pretty sure that whatever it is, when they decide to go after him, he's not going to like it. That's a fact. And that being said, down here is where that happened, of course, right? It's no sooner than that happened, the Trump administration, the Department of Defense, HEXF, and those guys, they went and got with Bill Gates and his partner Altman. And this is what was said about that.
Writing tonight, we reached an agreement with the Department of War to deploy our models in their classified network. In all our interactions, the Dow displayed a deep respect, the Department of War, respect for safety and a desire to partner to achieve the best possible outcome.
But as Altman continued, it appeared that his company brought similar concerns about the department's use of AI, and instead of backlash, the Pentagon appeared to agree to some restrictions. Altman wrote, 2 of our most important safety principles are prohibitions on domestic mass surveillance and human responsibility for the use of force, including for autonomous weapon systems. The Department of War agrees with these principles, reflects them in law and policy, and we put them into our agreement.
Now, that was the issue with AMODEI that Trump and HEXF had totally, railed against. Like, how dare you? No, we want this in our system, or we don't want our system to be, or to have the capacity to be woke. And their reasoning was, and Sam Altman just explained, and they went back on their contract as well to some extent, they did not want the AI system to be used against American citizens, not just at the point or to the point of surveillance, but also to the point where they could police, use this AI system in any robot or whatever to not only police, but use force against American citizens. Say, for instance, American citizens decide to rebel against the government, So for whatever reason, Trump and HEXF at this point say, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, we're not gonna push that, But it really sets me to think that, yeah, they're agreeing to that right now. Doesn't mean that it's going to remain that way. They'll find a way to push through Congress or, the Senate, certain any bills, certain bills that would provide that they be allowed to have this code that they want to not only to surveil, citizens of the United States, but also to squash or quash any rebellion or protest they may not see fit or worthy for American citizens to participate in. That is the threat. So hats off to Sam Altman and OpenAI. Bill Gates, for whatever reason, he's involved in this, and it should be no surprise to anyone that Bill Gates is involved in this. He has an agenda as well. Okay, let me put it to you like that. But that's not the end of it. We also have another clip that's going to talk about the Trump administration and how they clashed with Anthropic about Anthropic deciding not to honor this contract. Another instance or situation where Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth were really livid about this, this reneging, so to speak, of the contract. Here, check this out. I can't wait to hear what he wrote, or I hope that he kind of explains what he wrote. And those programs are coded, for AI. I have a feeling it's not good. But right quick, I'm thinking about what he's saying. And he's talking about, okay, how will it affect, America's defense? We're not, well, I haven't heard as of yet the cost and who pays that cost. If the $200 million deal, went through the tubes or, is no longer being honored, then that means because OpenAI is coming in, that's one payment you have to consider. They have to, pay to OpenAI, but then all these other companies who Donald Trump is demanding that they cease all business dealings, government contracts to cease all business dealings with Anthropic, then that's another cost to the government, because then that means there has to be a refitting of systems. Systems have to be removed in order for other systems to be replaced by the removal. So again, They're not discussing the cost of all this back and forth, Trump and them being in a fit of rage or anger because Anthropic decided that they wanted the system, if they were going to use it, the DOD, then it would have to be used in such a way that would not affect the rights of the American citizen, and not just in terms of surveillance or those constitutional rights, but also in terms of policing or using force. That's what the whole issue was about. But again, the price, the cost of this, who pays? Who pays that cost? Mm. Yeah, you could see China courting Anthropic, and Anthropic being a business, it was like, okay, how can I be of service? That's one way to look at it for sure. And that's a shock for me to hear because I've read that Elon Musk also had an issue with AI being coded to do certain things. His warning was that you didn't want to code AI with too much because it will, in some way, that would trigger it becoming autonomous. It deciding to do what it wants to do, and damn the coding. There's another thing that makes sense to me. There are three stages of AI that most of us don't realize or understand. The first stage is what everyone knows about right now. That is artificial intelligence, AI. Most of us do not understand what AGI is, and that is artificial general intelligence. This is a step above what AI does. In fact, AGI is the one that supposedly is going to start this transition into the workplace, where jobs that human beings typically have, AGI will begin to transition into those jobs as human beings are taken away from those positions. Then there is ASI, and that is artificial superior intelligence. And this is what most of those who understand AI is worried about, the fact that you have AI and you code it in such a way, there's a chance that that coding could create an autonomous thinking in AI, which, if it's in AI, it's going to be an AGI. And AGI is the threat most see, where machines or AI controls machines. It starts to think for itself. It starts to become autonomous. And this is where the threat really lies. From AGI to ASI, it's the artificial superior intelligence that is what worries, or that is what's worrying most people. So I'm surprised that Elon Musk has decided to work with, the Department of Defense or the Department of War. That's new to me. Right. Hmm. Mm. Okay, now that being said, I want you guys to think of something that just a name he just mentioned, and the art of political discourse has done content on this name, this corporation. It's called Palantir. Okay, Palantir again. They just mentioned it is one of maybe one of the leading AI corporations or businesses that's out there and that does business with the United States government. As it was just said, they were assisting or they assisted the U.S. government in Maduro's kidnapping from Venezuela. It was their software or their system helped them be able to accomplish that feat. Now, Palantir, though, has its hands in other things. They are also a biotech firm. They do bio research. They do bio experimentation. They are involved in a lot of things that the public is not really, I don't think they're quite aware of. And I'm grateful that I do this or I attempt to do this or bring content to the people to such a point where I end up learning things every day. We need to be aware of what's happening in our world. Kudos to DARIO AMODEI because it seems as though he has a sense of humanity. He understands what's coming. He understands what's coming. And for his he's the kind of guy that say, wait a minute, okay, I don't mind making money. I have a brain, I want to use it, but I don't want to be the cause of something occurring in society or happening to humanity, as a result of, me not having certain principles or morals, in terms of what I allow my product to be used for. Then there is the fact you have other companies like OpenAI, this Bill Gates' company. Well, he's part owner of it. Sam Altman, also OpenAI. Then you have Palantir. You have these companies, and these individuals have no scruples. They have no integrity about the products they are putting out. In fact, a lot of them look at it like the product is needed because they have ideas or plans, agendas to change the world. And this is the danger most speak about when we're talking about artificial intelligence, it becoming autonomous and no one being able to control it. That is a danger most of us should be mindful of because if that should happen, there'll probably be nothing. There'll probably be nothing we can do to stop it. All right. So there that is. Again, please like, share, comment. Follow and subscribe to the Art of Political Discourse. Again, your viewership is very much appreciated, and we will continue to try. We'll attempt to bring you even more informative and educational content. That being said, take care of yourselves and one another.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution.